what we are doing on supply is right behind us here. The $2 billion social housing accelerator program has seen over 700 homes built here in the suburbs of Melbourne and in regional Victoria, making a difference. There was one home here that wasn't occupied, that wasn't fit for purpose. It's got knocked over. 2 homes in this beautiful area right next to a park, which will be able to house families. Most likely a single parent and child would be an appropriate family to get off the housing waiting list and into public housing. That's just one of the programs. We brought forward the Social Housing Accelerator when we couldn't get through the Housing Australia Future Fund, when it was blocked by the no-alition of the Liberals, the Nationals and the Greens for so long in the Senate. 28,000 homes under the Housing Australia Future Fund are either under construction, like these ones here, or in planning. And we know the Housing Australia Future Fund will be abolished if the coalition are elected, like they'll abolish free TAFE. I've seen many structures like this in TAFEs, and you'll all have footage of it, building frames, people learning, construction apprentices. There's more than 40,000 people have benefited from free TAFE in construction. We're also providing that $10,000 incentive because we understand that improvements in labour and skills is important as well. We're also, of course, on Sunday we made 2 important announcements. One, the extension of the 5% deposit scheme to be available to all first home buyers. 150,000 Australians have benefited from this scheme already. By extending it, more Australians will be able to benefit. They'll still have to go through their bank approvals with APRA conditions, be able to pay off their mortgage, and that's why it's been successful. Only 3 defaults out of 150,000 people. But by extending it, what we're doing is giving them a crack. Instead of waiting to get that 20% deposit, by the Commonwealth covering off on their mortgage insurance, covering that 15% gap, it will make an enormous difference. It means that they're paying off their own home instead of paying rent to someone to pay off their mortgage, making an enormous difference for families. Secondly as well, we saw in Adelaide on Monday morning an example of the South Australian scheme that's been successful in reserving homes for just first home buyers as part of new developments. Now we'll work with state and territory governments and private developers to make sure there are more projects like that. In Adelaide there was 110 townhouses being built, 40 of which reserved for first home buyers. Successful scheme. We're going to extend it nationally as well. Importantly, what that is doing is on sites like that and other sites around Australia where the government, state governments have lands that might have changed in its use. Close to my home, there's difference that the old Everleigh workshops have made in Sydney and right throughout our cities in particular. And what that does as well is you get housing built close to public transport, close to facilities and infrastructure, and you don't have to then spend additional money on infrastructure in the outer areas if we can improve density in those communities. And that will be, I think, a big difference between our plans and the plans of the coalition. Our plans are about supply as well as demand. Their plans are just all about demand. They indeed will decrease supply because they're going to get rid of the Housing Australia Future Fund, because they don't have any measures. They opposed our build to rent scheme that the Treasurer here might like to talk about as well. It's about private rentals being built, providing a tax incentive to do that. They've been against all of it, all of the supply side measures that we've put in place. If you're not dealing with supply, if you're not building a single home, then you are just pushing up prices. Our plan is to deal with supply and deal with demand. I might make some, just conclude before handing to the Treasurer and then taking questions. I do want to make some comments about the questions that I was asked yesterday, because you, quite rightly, were asking questions. You weren't giving answers or jumping the gun. What we saw from Peter Dutton yesterday was an extraordinary overreach. He verbaled the President of Indonesia. He said very clearly, did the Prime Minister know about this before it was publicly announced by the President of Indonesia? Yesterday you saw the contrast between a government that's considered, that deals with our neighbours and deals internationally in a diplomatic way, that doesn't leap to conclusions, that doesn't get ahead of ourselves, that doesn't dial it up to 11, which is what Peter Dutton does consistently, dials it up to 11 at every opportunity, doesn't worry about facts. But in verbaling the President of Indonesia, who had not made a statement about this issue, nor had the government of Indonesia made a statement, the Foreign Minister, the Defence Minister, it was an extraordinary thing for him to do at any time. It's no wonder that one of the jobs that I had as Prime Minister in this term was to repair relationships with ASEAN, with our Pacific neighbours, with France, with so many countries, with Greece, so many countries, because of the way that the former government behaved using international issues to try to score domestic political points. In today's uncertain world, what we need is leadership that's considered, that deals with people respectfully, that doesn't verbal international leaders. What we saw yesterday was Peter Dutton doing what he does consistently, which is always overreaching, always dialing it up to 11. But in this case, being quite reckless with a neighbour of Australia that is an important neighbour and friend of Australia in the President, President Prabowo, and the Indonesian government.